Hello, my friends. Welcome to the very first Collaboration Q&A Tuesday Instagram TV episode. We're all trying new things in this quarantine phase of life, so I figured I get asked a ton of collaboration questions every single week that I'm sure many of you would enjoy knowing the answers to. So, hey, why not do a weekly Instagram TV series called Collaboration Q&A, where I can answer your questions and provide you practical tips and very helpful tools that you can use right now. So that is what we're doing. Welcome. So our very first collaboration Q&A Tuesday question comes from Rachel. Rachel asks, what is the best way to approach a potential partner to get them on board right away? Fantastic question, Rachel, and one that I hear from a lot of people. So many people are afraid that they're going to go through the trouble of reaching out and then never hear back from a partner, or maybe worse, they'll hear back and that person will say, thanks, but no thanks. Get the hell out of my inbox. That's probably not going to happen, that very last scenario, so relax on that. And what I'll say about reaching out in general is it's always better to reach out and not hear back from somebody than never reaching out at all. Same outcome, except one is far less likely to yield a potential partner. So do go ahead and reach out. Here are 5 tips I have for you for ensuring that a partner will actually respond or that the relationship will get kicked off on the right foot. First and foremost, do your homework. Do your homework on the partner and on the brand that you're reaching out to. If it's an individual who works at a company, do a little bit of background on that person too. Go to LinkedIn, see where they went to school, see if you know anybody in common, look for hobbies that they might share, volunteer organizations. Essentially, look for the middle piece on the Venn diagram. Here, I got a tattoo just for this scenario. So what you're trying to do is look right there, the center piece, the overlapping piece on the Venn diagram. You are searching for clues about ways that you and that person or your brand and that brand are aligned and overlapping, right? So one of the best places you can do this, of course, LinkedIn. Go find that person, that brand, do a little digging. Another great place is Googling them. I know, shocker, right? Best place to stalk people, Google. Except I always like to click over to the news tab and see if they've been written about in any recent magazines or online platforms, won any awards, gotten any press hits. It's a great place to start because then you can kind of drop that in your email to them or on the first call so that they know that you've done your homework on them. Another great place, shockingly, is their About page. Go ahead and read the About page and see what you can find out about what they say their mission is, who their audience is, their values, anything like that. Something I like to do is kind of scan for words that they tend to use, like their vocabulary, and use it in that intro email. So an example would be if they're very, let's say, spiritual based and they talk about alignment and manifestation and intention, kind of use that language in your outreach to them and then when you talk to them. Now, this isn't about kind of being sneaky or tricky with that. It's about mirroring them. It's about making them feel comfortable with you because you're speaking the same language, literally and figuratively. Tip number 2, always get a warm introduction. I harp on this all the time, but it's because it's that important. Think about it. If you open your inbox and you see an email from one of your friends, you're going to open it. Whereas if you see an email from somebody you've never heard of, from a brand you don't know, you might open it, but you don't feel a sense of responsibility for responding to it. So when you put yourself on the other end of that, if you can find somebody to get you into somebody's inbox who you've never met before, who doesn't know you, you are increasing your likelihood of that person ultimately responding by a billionfold. That's a legit statistic. So always, always, always try and find somebody that you and the person you're trying to reach out to has in common. Where's the best place to do this? LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, go get on LinkedIn and start using it because it's my absolute best collaboration tool, which is next week's topic of conversation. So, getting a warm introduction, I make it super easy. I have a free template that you can use if you go to the link in my bio, download the free email outreach, warm intro request outreach email template. And what you're going to do with that is use it to send to somebody that you have in common with the person you're trying to reach out to, asking them to connect you. So super easy. Get that warm introduction. It is so much more likely that you'll be able to get to the person you're trying to get to if you are Trojan horsed in by somebody that you share in common. Tip number 3. Once you get that warm introduction email or you're deciding to reach out cold, which is totally fine, all hope is not lost, but once you go to start writing that initial email to that potential partner, best tip, keep it brief. Get to the point quickly. Do not send them multiple paragraphs. Basically, what you're wanting to include in that email is who you are, why you're reaching out to them, and what the next steps are. So that could look like, hi, so-and-so, my name's Baily Hancock. I'm a collaboration consultant and host of the Stop, Collaborate, and Listen podcast. I'm reaching out because so-and-so mentioned that you were looking for podcast collaborators, and I see from your website that you and I share a lot of common mission and values and audience, and I think we'd be a great fit. If you're interested in learning more, go ahead and choose the best time for you to connect with me here. Have a great week. Thanks so much. So obviously, that's going to change dependent upon what your purpose for reaching out is, but essentially, why are you reaching out, why them, and what do you want them to do? Always include great links and anything that they can click on to learn more, because that's going to help them do a little bit of digging on you before they reach out. But keep it brief. You will increase the likelihood that they will actually read the whole email if it is to the point. On that note, next tip, number 4, have a solid email signature. So there are plenty of ways you can do this. You can go super basic and just have your name and, your link to your website or whatever. I personally use the tool Wisestamp, WISESTAMP.com, because it allows you to have dynamic links in your bio or in your little signature that people can click on. So some of the things that I like to make sure are included, obviously your name, your title, and your website, linked of course, as well as any links to social profiles like Instagram or LinkedIn or your Facebook page. If you have a podcast, you can link to iTunes or Spotify, but I think you should also try and include a photo if you can, as well as any links to recent articles, podcast episodes, guest posts, anything that you would have done that they might want to read to learn more about you. Basically, you're trying to give them you in a very easily stockable box. And finally, tip number 5, give them some grace. There is a high likelihood that even if you do every single one of these things correctly, they may still not respond. And that's okay. It doesn't have to mean the end of the world. But here's what I always think to myself. You have no idea what's going on their end of the computer. You are not privy to things happening in the company, in their life. Your email might not have even ended up in their inbox. You could have spelt it wrong, or it could have gone to spam. You never know. Or they might be a terrible, horrible, no good, awful person that just doesn't want to respond to you. And in which case I say good riddance. We don't need to work with those people anyway. But in terms of giving them some grace, I always like to think if you don't hear an email within a week, if you don't get a respond email within a week, then consider following back up saying something like, hi there, just wanted to check in to make sure you got this. Still super interested in chatting if you're willing. If so, here's an updated list of my availability. Choose any time that works for you. I would love to get on the phone soon. And then if they still don't respond to that email, then let it go. Do as those Frozen sisters do. Just let it go. There are more fish in the sea. There are more partners out there. Even if this is your dream partner, it doesn't mean it's the end of the road. You can always reach back out in a few months or even in a month from then. But by all means, do not fill their inbox with a crap ton of emails saying, hey, popping this to the top, just want to make sure you got this. That is the quickest way to annoy somebody before you've even spoken to them. So give them some grace, assume the best, assume they're just super busy or didn't see it. Reach out maybe 1, maybe 2 times, and if you don't hear back, move along. And that is it for our very first Collaboration Q&A Tuesday Instagram TV episode. I'm so glad I got that all out correctly. If you enjoyed it, feel free to share it to your stories. You can share TV episodes to your stories by clicking somewhere. You'll find it. I believe in you. And if you go to my feed right now, you will see I have a whole swipeable story with each of these tips included. So you can revisit, save it, post it, do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't know. Get crazy, but use it. I hope this was helpful because all I ever want to do is provide you with tools to learn how to think collaboratively and leverage your community to succeed at all the things. And if that means succeeding in business, then amazing. Lord knows we're all trying these days, right? So thank you again, and I'll see you back here for Collaboration Q&A Tuesday next week. Bye.